Hi, my name is Kesha, and this is Healing Conversations, Episode 0, Why I Couldn't Keep Waiting. I almost didn't start this podcast because I thought I needed to be healed first. I thought I needed to have the answers. I thought I needed to be on the other side of the hard things. I thought I needed to wait until my life felt stable. But the truth is, I'm recording this while my life is still unfolding. I'm currently staying with my sister after a difficult fallout with my brother. Just a few days before that, I had surgery to remove 7 large fibroids. My housing situation is unsettled. My finances aren't where I want them to be. There are still questions I don't have the answers to. And that's exactly why I couldn't keep waiting. Because at some point I realized that healing doesn't happen after life settles down. It happens while we're living it. It happens in the middle of the uncertainty. It happens while we're rebuilding. It happens while we're learning who we are when the life we thought we'd have no longer exists. And that's what this podcast is about. What's interesting is this isn't the first time I believed I needed to be ready before I started something. When I look back over my life, I can see the pattern everywhere. I thought I needed to achieve more before I could feel confident. I thought I needed more certainty before I could trust myself. I thought I needed more stability before I could rest. I thought I needed to become some future version of myself before I could fully accept the person I already was. And for a long time, that seemed reasonable. Because many of us are taught that healing is something we do after the hard part, after the divorce, after the burnout, after the grief, after the diagnosis, after the financial stress, after the uncertainty, as if life is going to pause long enough for us to catch up. But that's not how life works. Life keeps moving, and if we keep waiting for everything to be resolved before we begin healing, before we begin creating, before we begin trusting ourselves, we may spend years postponing our own lives. One of the biggest realizations I've had recently is that healing isn't a destination. It's not a finish line. It's not a version of you that arrives one day and finally has everything figured out. Healing is a relationship with yourself. It's learning how to stay connected to yourself when things are uncertain. It's learning how to listen to yourself when the answers aren't obvious. It's learning how to be present with your life instead of waiting for a different one. That's part of what inspired this season. Not because I have all the answers, but because I don't. And maybe that's where the most honest conversations begin. This season is called Coming Home to Yourself. And over the next several episodes, we're going to talk about survival mode, being the strong one, self-abandonment, trusting your body, trusting yourself, and what it means to rebuild a life that actually fits. Not from the perspective of someone who has perfected any of it, but from the perspective of someone who is living it. My hope is that these conversations help you feel less alone. They help you recognize yourself in places where you thought you were the only one, and that they remind you that you don't have to wait until your life is perfect to begin coming home to yourself. You can start right where you are. I'm glad you're here. And before you go, I want to leave you with a question. What would you change if you trusted yourself just a little bit more this week? If today's conversation resonated with you, I've created a free 5-day experience called the Self-Trust Reset. It's designed for women who feel disconnected from themselves, exhausted from carrying too much, or unsure what they need next. Each day you'll receive a simple reflection and action step to help you reconnect with yourself and begin rebuilding self-trust. You can access it using the link in the show notes. And if this episode helps you feel a little less alone, I'd love for you to leave a review, subscribe, or share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Trust what you know, and keep coming home to yourself. This is Healing Conversations, and I'll see you in the next episode.